Hello and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will share with you the 5 steps you need to take to finally find your perfect school niche. If we haven't met before, my name is Evelyn. I'm a creator on the platform. I have multiple communities. My biggest one is making $50,000 per month. And I'm also the media buyer for Skool, which means I'm the person running their ads. And because I do that, I have noticed the Hormozi tsunami that happened when he had his $100 million book launch, and we had a lot of new creators coming on the platform. So we had a huge jump from 50,000 to over 170,000. And with that, also a lot of people that are still trying to find their perfect school niche. So if this is you, or if you've been feeling stuck with your community and you're like, it's just not really there, this video is for you. All right, so what are the 5 steps? Let's jump right in. The first step is to understand the different lenses that you can take on when trying to pick a niche, and I'm gonna walk you through them in this video. Next, I'm going to help you to pick your favorite lens and then answer lens-specific finder questions. After that, in the third step, I'm going to give you a prompt that you can use in conjunction with my community value models to identify ideas that are a good fit for you. Then we're going to decide on one direction. After that, what you need to do is solidify your idea, your minimum viable community idea, by writing the about page. And then what you want to do next is run ads to validate your community idea. I'm going to share KPIs with you that allow you to see if you have school to market fit. And then based on the results that you get from the actual market, using ads, really low cost. Don't freak out on me. Something like, you can do this with $10 to $15 a day, and you want to maximum let it run for 72 hours. And that will give you a really good idea for how good your idea is. After you have that results, you can either pivot or you can refine based on the market feedback. All right, so step 1, what are the community lenses? Okay, so Skool is very big on passion, so obviously I have to start with that. The underlying principle of this lens is that you want to follow what naturally energizes you, what topics you obsess over without external motivation, what activities that make you lose track of time, what you would do even if nobody would pay you, and what conversations light you up. The second lens through which you can view finding your community niche is problems you're uniquely positioned to solve. So the principle is that you have leverage. You want to leverage your specific combination of experience. So your unique background, skill, intersection, your pain points that you've personally navigated, challenges that you've overcome that others are still facing, and insider knowledge across multiple domains. Now the next niche the next lens that we can take to look at niches is market gaps that you can see. So the underlying principle is identifying underserved opportunities, audiences that exist but aren't well served, solutions that worked but feel outdated, communities with demand but poor supply, niches everyone assumes are too small. Now, the next lens is skills you can monetize. So the principle is you build on existing competencies. What you're already demonstrably good at, capabilities that naturally come to you but others struggle with them, knowledge you can systematize and teach, and skills that compound over time, skills that stack, storytelling and advertising, right? Then we have lens number 5, networks you have access to. The underlying principle is to use your existing relationships and positioning. So maybe you are already trusted in certain communities, and it does not have to be on Skool. Maybe you are really well respected locally, right? And that can already get your foot in the door. Industries that you understand from the inside, relationships that give you a natural distribution, or doors that are open to you but closed to others. Lens number 6 is arbitrage opportunities. And the underlying principle is that you bridge gaps that others can't or won't. So you can, for example, take knowledge from one field and apply it to another. You can bridge geographical or cultural differences and translate information asymmetries that you can exploit, or technologies ready for new application. Now, lens number 6 is identity and lifestyle that you want. So principle is design backward from your desired life. This is something that I got a lot more into. And so basically, how do you want to spend your time daily? What type of people do you want to surround yourself with? What is the reputation and position you want to build? And what aligns with your values and your pace? Now, lens number 8 is trends you can ride. So the principle is you want to position yourself ahead of emerging waves. New technologies, creating fresh possibilities, right? Think of the whole AI space, so many communities around that. Generational shifts, opening new needs. So for example, think of Cody Sanchez, right? Making boring businesses great again because of those shifts. Regulatory, economic changes, creating new opportunities. For example, certain compliance changes require people to keep up. Huge thing here in the European Union was, business owners helping other businesses becoming compliant with GDPR. Cultural movements gaining momentum. And lens number 9 is contrarian bets. The principle here is profit from what others get wrong. So here you want to consensus views you disagree with, right? So what everybody says, but you're going against the grain, right? So think of, for example, carnivore diet. Unfashionable approaches for a comeback. Problems everyone thinks are solved, but that aren't. Markets others have abandoned too quickly. So that's a contrarian bet. Those are all of the lenses through which you can view finding a niche, and you'll naturally gravitate towards one or the other. So for me, I always gravitated towards problems I'm uniquely positioned to solve based on my experience. That allowed me to monetize the unique skill set that my experience gave me. I saw a lot of the things that were happening because I was coming from a different niche. I was coming from a different industry. I was having contrarian beliefs, and I was also seeing gaps that were underserved, right? I had the opportunity to arbitrage knowledge from being a media buyer into teaching others to do it for themselves. Within that, I tried to ride as many trend waves as possible. And last but not least, I've come to the conclusion that the first principle that I want to build from at this point in my life is around lifestyle, right? So these are not strictly separate. You'll naturally gravitate towards them based on what you can bring to the table and also what your preferences are. So go for them, right? And then once you say, okay, these are the ones that I really resonate with, right? Or so for example, School of Mentors is a Skool community that I always think about. They started doing interviews on their social media channels with people that looked rich because they were coming out of a fancy car, etc. And through that work, they had built up a network of having access to billionaires, right? That were willing to share their stories, right? Because they were at that point in their life. And they also had the audience from social media. So for them, the niche naturally emerged from the network that they had built. So you want to think, like, where do you already have certain advantages? And to fully think this through, we want to go to the second step, which is the niche finder questions. So those lenses that you naturally gravitate towards, or maybe even all, if you really want to do this properly. I'm someone that appreciates how important picking a niche is for finding product to market fit and the success for my business, to that point that I would personally definitely go through all of them. But if you are like, I can't be bothered, pick one area, that one that resonates most with you, and answer the question fully. You can also just skim over those questions and record yourself. I recommend using the screen recording tool Loom and just record everything that comes up and ramble it out. I like to get a big nice coffee and a water for my voice and then just brain dump everything that comes up. And I'm not even focused on this needs to be a cohesive stream of consciousness. I just try to get everything out that is in this brain, all of the data that I have around this, and try to answer these questions as good as possible. I tried to make this easy for you by basing each of the questions not only on what data do we actually need to surface, but also on a scaffolding technique that hopefully, although you still have to answer the question, takes off more creative burden from you, right? So for example, on the passion lens, I give you a time audit. So you want to track your activities in 30-minute blocks for 3 days, and then which block made you feel like time disappeared. Really, really good in general to start tracking your time to see, what you're actually doing. But I try to give you supportive tools that take off creative burden from you. And I would try to go for this and do as many of the exercises as possible. And so if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not in the community, I'll actually make those a little bit bigger, and we're going to scroll through, and you can pause and take a screenshot of each of those as well if you want to. Next one, market gaps you can see, skills you can monetize, networks and access you have, arbitrage opportunities, identity and lifestyles you want, trends you can ride, and contrarian bets, right? So try to answer these and record yourself as best as possible, right? Everybody has a different threshold for what they can tolerate, but I tell you, this is a lot of gold that is sitting between your ears, and only you can tap into it, because you actually want to build, hopefully, this business for yourself to be thriving and serving and successful and fulfilling. So the more time you spend thinking this through, the less time you lose later when you have to course correct or start over, right? So I would just go through and I would record myself like this. So I'm also going to give you an example. I'm not putting the microphone because it might take it away from the screen recording, but just to give you an example. Or let me take another one so I can actually show you how I pull the transcript. So I'm going to do this, the default Mac one. Okay, so I didn't track my activities in 30 minutes blocks for 3 days, but what seems to make time disappear for me is when I work on ads, like specifically when I set them up, when I analyze the data, definitely time seems to disappear. When I create new content, I absolutely love doing that. Working out, time disappears. Listening to Michael Singer, like how he talks about these things. Okay, what next? Radio energy after each major activity this week. What scored? Okay, so I haven't done that yet. I can try that if it's necessary. But in general, what energizes me is creating content, brainstorming solutions, talking energizes me. I'm a talker. Q&As, I do like, they just drain me when they get like heavy on the boundaries. Everything that requires a lot of boundary setting really drains me. Everything that's individual communication back and forth really drains me. Everything that is set deadlines really drains me. So I will just go through, as much as I know, I'll just ramble things out. And if you're like, I actually have no idea what drains me, well, it really might be an amazing idea to track what you actually do and how it affects your energy levels and how you enjoy it for 3 days in a row, right? So just like this, you'd go through everything, and then eventually you'll end up having on Loom a recording and a transcript, okay? And this is what we need. So you want to go through it as to your best abilities, with as much effort as you can personally exude across as many categories as you can personally handle. More data, better results, right? Garbage in, garbage out. But you have to decide how hard or easy you want to make this for yourself sooner or later, because at one point you have to do this clarity work, okay? So just giving you a heads up and warning on this. Okay, after, you want to use this prompt. And then what I really like to do is I like to model hop. So I will open up ChatGPT, but I will also open up Claude, and I will also open up Gemini, and I will also open up Perplexity, because each can give me a different view. And I'm just going to paste this prompt, and then I'm going to insert the recording. And because I just rambled so shortly, it probably will be garbage out, right? But I still just want to demonstrate the principle to you. Okay, so, and I'll just go across the board of all of these so I can have many different ideas. And what we also want to do is we want to then add the community value models that I have also linked in here. So let me actually just first do it with this. Okay, got it. Thank you. So Ads Alchemy Lab. Creators and solopreneurs who want to master paid ads without agency cost. Literally kind of how I started. Content Flow Society. Coaches, course creators who want to create content creation to feel joyful and sustainable. Oh, I never looked at that lens. Interesting. Sovereign Ads Collective. Founders who want ads as a tool for independence. Very cool. Thought leaders building brands through congruence and honesty. It's so crazy how quickly it actually catches through the lines. Jim, growth-driven creators who hate micromanagement and rigid deadlines. Solopreneurs validating, refining. Okay, so here is what value model did it give me. Hybrid of course and weekly live ad teardown session. I actually like those. Content sprints, co-working sessions, templates. I do quite a bit of that. Value model, community plus mastermind, and strategy vault. And also for independence, not just leads. This seems like too, crafted. Accountability plus storytelling labs plus hot seats. Radical transparency created. Oh, wow, this is actually really aligning with some of the things that I do, which is crazy because we just gave it a little data. Okay, so what does Claude do? Add Creative Mastery Hub. Okay. Content brainstorming, energy first, entrepreneurs, talkers and creators, Q&A mastery for coaches, anti-hustle, marketing lab, work accountability, boundary-free business models. Oh, okay, if somebody makes this, I sign up. Service is constantly setting boundaries, feeling drained by client management. How do you do it without setting boundaries? Interesting. That could be a good course idea if I find a solution for that. But you can see it already gives you quite some solid ideas. Ad Strategy Lab is the clearest one for all of those. Interesting. All of them went very, very similar based on the data that I gave. Talking for results. Okay, so it would then, I have my things. Okay, and so I would say I agree with the ranking. Right, so that definitely would, with not more information, I would definitely make it about ads. Or let me give it today's live Q&A. Do I already have the transcript of that? That would be perfect. Not available yet. Then let's do an older one, because it would show the different skill sets that I have. And let's do this again. And see if it comes up with some better answers based on more data. Just use the data you got. Teaching, have coaches using AI. Okay. I am Evelyn. Find a niche for my new community based on the data I gave you. Okay, ads optimization, integrity skill book, Skool community builder hub, somatic coaching toolkit. I think it was because I went and helped people with their different communities, it was not able to get it. Okay, it seems like ChatGPT did the best job. Ads first community launch lab, SLO factory, voiceover video ads, free paid. Now extract community niches from these. And so the better data you give it, the better the niches will be. And then after you have your right idea, the next step is to solidify that idea, writing your about page copy. And so what you want to do is you want to go to Skool/discovery and see on all of the categories, where would my niche fit in the best, right? So let's just say it's self-improvement. And from there, you can click on the different about pages and you can see how others have it structured, and you want to say, okay, based on how they have it structured and what my angle is, I'm going to write my about page to solidify my community idea. So let me see if ChatGPT got something for me. Okay, so what if I would do this now? Coaches who want content creation to feel joyful and sustainable, content sprints, etc. Okay, so how would I now go about this? If I was to build this community, I would next step say, what alternative value model combination can I use for this? Just to get an idea of what I could put in my community. And I'm just going to paste my A to Z community value models in here. So those are all the different ways in which I figure you can create value in a community. Accountability plus challenge model. Content flow is hard to sustain without external nudges. Transformation documentation, benchmarking, peer coaching, workshop lab. You know what? I think the accountability would be really, really great. So we could have a challenge. Okay, let me record it, right? Okay, so here's the community that I want to create. It is based on the documentation style content creation. So it's specifically for people who want to monetize their personal growth journey and create content and offerings from their experience, right? So it's a content, free and paid content creation lab for people who want to monetize their personal growth journeys and build a proximity membership around being a role model for others. And what we do is we do a monthly content creation sprint. So we will spend one workshop day per month with each other creating our full content for the month. That includes 4 YouTube videos, and broken down from those YouTube videos, a tangible strategic freebie or to grow our audience and communities that we can also have as a deliverable for our communities. So a tangible digital product, that's what I'm trying to say. Pillar content is 4 YouTube videos per month, broken down from that tangible solution tool, a total of 12 nurture emails. And then that's what we do in a monthly challenge with each other. We create all of the pieces. And then there's also a foundational course on how to solve content creation as an experienced worker, and also how to distribute the content and how to use it for promotion. And then there's bonuses in there, which is creating experience-based transformational offers. And there I want to teach workshops, self-liquidating offers, cohort programs, and how to turn them into community self-study or group coaching programs. And those is like the bonuses that are in there. Okay, pretty cool. That's how I would lay it out. That actually would make sense as a community. I would have never seen that without ChatGPT. So now I would come in here to the Skool discovery, and I would go into, probably this is between money and self-improvement. I would put it for money. And I'm going to take a few screenshots now. And that's completely fine. It has nothing to do with my community. I attached some screenshot of top performing Skool community about page copies, so you have an idea of the nature of them. I have 1000 characters max to convey my idea, and I want a unique about page that is compliant and attractive and really captures my vision, encouraging people to sign up and make it well structured. Okay, so now I'm gonna just paste this in here. It should be clear that this is solving the content part, the documentation part. Solve content once and for all. This is the lab for creators who want to document their personal growth journey, turn it into content, community, and income. No more guessing on what to post or how to keep up. We're building the system together. I would say every month we have a content sprint. I like it. Now I would always run it for Complyly. It's a compliance software where you can kind of check if you're on track. I think it will flag the turn it into income. I also don't like it. I also just don't like it. Okay, this is the lab for creators. So can update this here. Yep, that would be okay. And now I would have my working hypothesis and I can start to run ads to my Skool community. To validate my idea, I quickly want to show you something that I shared on a recent talk that I gave in Kelowna. For Skool to market fit, if you have zero audience, I would like you to start your Facebook ad campaign with a sales ad, optimizing for complete registration, running traffic to a free community. If you can get a cost per member lower than $3, ideally lower than $2.50, so you're more competitive. Below that, for 10 days in a row, at $10 spent a day, I'd consider your community idea validated. If you do have an existing audience, I would not launch to my existing audience yet. In fact, I would exclude them and I would put the community on paid, start with $7, spend $15 a day. And if I can get sales to that community daily after launching for $15 a day for 7 days in a row, those sales look like with the annual I can get them profitable, then I would consider that idea validated, right? So you can make it a little bit easier doing free, or you can make it a little bit harder measures if you really, really want to know and make it paid. And with that ad test, you'll know how strong your idea is and if you should pivot because you're not hitting the benchmarks at all, or if you are in that line and you just need to refine it based on that market feedback. And that's, my friends, is how you find your Skool community niche, finally. I hope this was helpful and I see you in another video.